In this video, we're going to be going over the PortSwigger Academy lab username enumeration via response timing. So this lab is vulnerable to username enumeration using its response times. To solve the lab, enumerate a valid username, brute force the user's password, and access their account page. We need to log in as another user based on these two lists that they give us. So we have one list of usernames and another list of passwords. And so let's go ahead and spin up our lab. So let's walk the application a little bit. Let's go to my account. And under username, we have Wiener and Peter. And now we see that we're logged in on our account page as Wiener. And we can update our email if we want to. So let's try to log in as somebody else. So let's log out. And let's go to my account. And let's say we want to log in as Bob. And we're going to put in a password of Bob. And we're going to say login, invalid username or password. Let's do this again. Let's see if we can trigger a lockout. Now we see that we've made too many incorrect login attempts, and it says please try again in 30 minutes. So if we were to try to switch the username, so go to the actual credentials that we have, we see that it still isn't letting us log in. And that's because it is blocking us based on our IP. We need to find a way around the IP block, and we also need to find a way to kind of differentiate between the usernames that are in that list that PortSwigger gave us. So let's go over to Burp Suite, and let's go over to our HTTP history. Scroll down to the bottom, and here we have a post login. And let's go ahead and send this post login request to repeater. And we see if we send it and render out the page, we get that you have made too many incorrect attempts. We don't want to wait the 30 minutes. That's ridiculous. That would make our testing extremely long. So what we can do is we can try a few things to see if we can find a way around that block. So let's try for a really common header that's available in a lot of applications. So we can try for a header called x-forwarded dash 4. Here we can put pretty much anything that we want. Like we can put 100. So if we say send, we see we have invalid username or password again. And so let's send a couple more times. And now we have that lockout message because it is now detecting that our IP is 100. So if we were to like switch it to 101 and send it again, we see that it goes back to that original error message, and we can send it a couple more times and we get that lockout message again. So what we want to do is we want to change this number as often as we possibly can so that we never actually hit this lockout message. Let's go ahead and send this request to intruder, and we're going to leave the payload position, the first one here, in x forwarded 4, and we are going to use a pitchfork attack. So this is when we allocate a payload set to each position, and intruder will iterate through each set in parallel. So we need another payload position for our pitchfork attack. We're going to concentrate on the username for this one. So we're going to add a second payload position. So over here on the payload side panel, we can go to 1. And here we can go to payload type and go down to numbers, a number range, and we're going to go from 0 to 100. We're going to step by 1, so it goes 1 at a time from 0 to 100, giving us 101 payloads. We're also going to make sure that our max fraction digits are set to 0. And that is pretty much everything for the first payload. We'll go to payload 2, and here we're going to paste in our usernames. So let's go to our username list, and copy these usernames out and paste them into Burp Suite. We're going to send an extremely long password, and we're going to iterate through all those usernames. That will give us a significant difference in the response time. Based on that, we can determine which one of the usernames is valid, and then we can work with that and try to get a password from it. So let's copy this Bob out, add a bunch of characters at the end. We'll go all the way up until we reach 100 characters. So that should be good enough. Let's copy that out and put it in the password field. And we should be good to go. So let's start the attack. The idea is that I have this reversed so that the longest response received, it comes in at the top. We're going to see it jump up a bunch. So this is probably going to be a valid username. This is significantly different than the rest of the responses received. Because there's a big time difference, it's taking a little bit longer to try and handle the password. The other ones aren't really even getting to the password. They're just trying for the username. We have just one response that's at 710. Let's go ahead and let's try for agent, and let's see if we can get a password out of that username. So let's put agent into our request. Let's clear out our payload positions. Let's put agent here. So let's set our X forwarded 4 header as the first payload position and our password as the second. Under 1, we will leave it as 0 through 100. For payload position 2, we're going to clear out our usernames. Let's go over to our list of passwords and we'll paste it into payload configuration. And that should be all that we need to do to start our attack. So this time, we're actually going to be looking at our status codes. So we see a bunch of 200s. A successful login is most likely going to be indicated with a 302. So we can reverse this request column here, and we can see the requests as they come in. Once we see a 302, that's most likely going to be our password, and we can confirm by logging in with agent and whatever is in the payload to position. And if we sort out our status codes, we see let me in got our 302. We can't directly log in with the login form. We have to modify the request kind of in the middle. So if we go over to our lab and we type in our username and password, which is going to be agent, and let me in. Go back to Burp Suite. Let's go over to Proxy, Intercept, and let's turn Intercept on. When we send this request, we are going to intercept it in Burp Suite and modify it so that we can add in that X forwarded 4 header. So if we hit login, we have our login request here. We're going to go up to the top. Let's delete our cookie. And then we're going to type in X forwarded 4. And let's put in some random number. And that should be all we need to do. So if we hit forward, and then we turn intercept off, we can see that we are now logged in as agent, and we have solved the lab. And that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see you.